The folks at New Mexico Ethics Watch have continued to follow the impact of money in politics during the campaign. Massive spending on advertising and lobbying is perhaps a given in today's political climate, but the group is pushing to make that information as easy to find as possible. NMIF producer Matt Grubb spoke with Kathleen Sabo, the executive director of New Mexico Ethics Watch.
Kathleen Sabo, when you gather information on campaign finance reports, lobbyist reports, what are you hoping to do?
What we're hoping to do is bring to light who is at least attempting to influence candidates. And, you know, that may be harsh, Matt, because certainly candidates will deny influence, but at least voters can see who is wanting to influence a candidate, or at least help a candidate get elected because they think they'd be good for them in the legislature.
Sure. You're being fairly diplomatic. I think it used to just be journalists who were sort of so cynical to, like, of course this is influencing them. But I think the public might be getting there too. There's so much money as you've gone through this election and you've looked at these reports. What kind of money is being spent and who is spending it inside the state, outside the state, that sort of thing?
Well, as you may know, we've been focusing on a couple of industries, all of which we reported on earlier this year. Oil and gas is one of them. We've also been taking another look at cannabis, firearms, tobacco, film, and now we're starting a new look at payday loan industry because unfortunately that might be rising to the top. But it's oil and gas that we really see, continuing to pump large amounts of money into the state, and also oil and gas industries in the state contributing large amounts of money. That's fairly split, in-state, out-of-state, unlike a lot of other industries, money coming from New Mexico Corps and then out-of-state corporations.
Okay. When you issued the release or the report back in March, this was looking at from 2017 to 2020, you found about $11.5 million had been either donated or contributed or used to pay for lobbyists, basically. The oil and gas industry, their spokesman said, "Oh, this is a political attack." Walk me through that. I would assume you think it is not a political attack.
Well, we don't. It's all public records, and it's all right there for people who want to see it. What we're doing is compiling the data and putting it out there for people to see. That 11.5 million included expenditures. It included direct contributions. It included lobbyist contributions. It included contributions from industry PACs. And like I said, it's not the only industry that we're looking at. It is one of the largest contributors, certainly within the state. It's become obviously, oil and gas is highly political at this point. We saw that in the presidential debate when Joe Biden got in a little bit of trouble talking about the transition, moving from oil and gas to alternative energy. And certainly, they've filled our coffers here in the state, and they've supported education wildly, and so it is, there are politics involved with it now, but as far as we're concerned, we're just shining a light on what's in the public records.
Let's talk about those specific public records. What can the public see? Earlier this election cycle, you took a look specifically at financial disclosures, which are different than a campaign finance reform. First, can you explain the difference between those two, and then tell me what you found with financial disclosures?
Well, financial disclosures are required by certain people to be filed every year, and they are also required of every candidate to be filed upon declaration of candidacy. So we did look at financial disclosure statements. At this point, nobody, including us, really has the time to go through every financial disclosure statement in depth. But what we were looking for is, did candidates file them? Does the public have access to them? And we found, I think, a total of 34 or more of candidates that were missing. So we worked with the Secretary of State's office. We worked with the candidates, and they're all up online now. So that's what financial disclosure statements are. This is personal information that people are required to provide by law. The campaign finance are when candidates have to report contributions, expenses. So who's giving and what are they spending? And so that's the difference there. And they're on different schedules, obviously. But we think they're both important. We think they're both incredible tools for voters in trying to decide for whom they wish to vote.
They certainly are. Those financial disclosure forms reveal basically where our unpaid citizen legislators and other officials, where they're making their money, where they have their money. They don't always disclose what you're hoping they will disclose, though, right?
Our law is really anemic. We testified before the State Ethics Commission in early October about the Financial Disclosure Act and why it needs to be reformed. So no, I mean, there are some legislators who just regularly put NA, not applicable, not applicable, not applicable. There aren't enough people in the Secretary of State's office to audit those. And so, we don't get the information we want. We hear about them mostly during the season because somebody will look at their opponent's disclosure statement. And I believe that happened with Rebecca Dow's opponent. But otherwise, they're, what's required by law is pretty scant.
Is there any appetite at the legislature, as far as you can tell, to correct this or to pass a law that's a little more robust? It's kind of an interesting ask, right, for lawmakers, because you're asking them to be willing to disclose more of their financial situation.
I know. And what surprised me, and I was so pleased after we had a voluminous 2018 report just before that election. And right after that, Senator Mark Moores, Republican Senator Mark Moores, called me up and said, I'd like to work on reforming this. And we still, with everything that's been happening, whether it's a budget session or then the pandemic, we really haven't gotten down to business on that with him. But that was a hopeful sign that there's a new sort of breed of legislator that really wants to, be more transparent. I will tell you this, we had hoped that this year might be a year that the State Ethics Commission, who is charged by law to suggest reforms, might be supportive of some financial disclosure changes, but they've got a lot on their plate. They're required by law to suggest reforms to the Campaign Reporting Act, the Lobbyist Regulation Act, and the Voter Action Act in this coming legislature. So it could be that financial disclosure is a little bit down the line, but those other acts are in need of reform as well.
Sure, and they've been fairly aggressive in terms of what they've wanted to do, I think, at the Ethics Commission. I wanted to chat just a little bit about that complaint that you mentioned that Karen Whitlock filed against Rebecca Dow. She was claiming that she didn't disclose her status as a legislator in contracts that she had with two state agencies. The Ethics Commission can't rule on that. Is that correct? During an election? Well, prior to the election.
Right. There's a blackout period for adjudication of complaints in certain areas, and that's certainly one of them. That's something we'd like to see changed. I mean, we're going to be suggesting some reforms in that regard that potentially anything that arises concerning financial disclosures, whether they've been filed, might be able to be adjudicated because it is such important information for voters to know. But the commission could not adjudicate that during that time. However, Karen Whitlock could go to the press and say, hey, I filed this, which was interesting as well. And frankly, if we hadn't been able to get those legislators' financial disclosure statements up on the Secretary of State's database, we were getting ready to file an ethics complaint. So to make sure those were up there, and we knew it wouldn't be able to be adjudicated, but that's one of the reforms we might be suggesting.
Sure. Lawmakers oftentimes come up with sort of worst case scenarios when they think about passing laws to restrict themselves. This was one of them, actually, that people are going to use the Ethics Commission to sort of game voters. And to file something by law, it has to be kept secret unless the person filing it discloses it. And when you're a candidate running against someone and you file against someone, you can disclose it. Why wouldn't you, right?
Right. Well, and so we only saw one, though. I mean, so to me, and I'm sorry, Rebecca Dow might feel differently about it, but to me, there wasn't anyone who was trying, there wasn't an overwhelming, sort of dishonest approach to it, and maybe not at all. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, we have yet to see what comes out of this complaint. It's still a valid
Right.
complaint, despite the fact that Rebecca Dow won the election.
Right. Yeah.
We just have about a couple minutes left. You mentioned that you are going to be looking at payday lending because you expect that to be a big issue in the upcoming legislative session. When voters look at the reports that you put out, you're basically hoping to give them information about who's putting money into the system. What do the people putting money in the system expect to get out of it? It's $11.5 million question.
Well,
right?
listen, what I can say definitively is they expect to get something out of it. But what it is, I can't tell you. Now, in our past reports, we have shown how people who've received money have then voted. Well, can we make a direct correlation? Absolutely not. It's not possible unless somebody comes directly out and says, yes, I voted to reduce the royalties on oil and gas because Chevron gave me $60,000 for my campaign. No one's going to say that. No one's going to, or if they do, welcome that level of transparency. But so all we can do is sort of just show, here are the people who got money and here's how they voted. You can draw your own conclusions. Do you want them as your lawmakers?
Fair enough. Kathleen Sabo with New Mexico Ethics Watch. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Matt. Be well.
You too.